You did get both the buttons, right? The one that
Yes,
turns on the sound and the one that turns on the video
I
and the one that turns on the recording.
yes. We have to take that. We have to take that for just on sheer trust because it says in broadcast over the button says this is where the go live button is. So
Is
well,
that the one we missed before?
yeah, that's the one I missed. So now see, it's it's excellent, and we have no views. So hi, this is Bill Peschel, and
And I'm Teresa Peschel. Oh, and I left my
that's our
my compression gloves on. And
that's
since we have no audience, I can look at. I think I do need to have a little blush. I'll have to talk to Megan, the Mary Kay lady.
okay.
Anyway, if anybody is out there, if anybody shows up, I certainly hope you can see us and hear us.
Trust us. I think all the signs indicate
It's working.
it's working. So what we are going to do this time, this is probably going to be a short episode for a very good reason because we saw the 1932 French movie adaptation of Black Coffee.
And for those of you who are thinking, my God, there's a Poirot novel that I did not see, the Poirot novel I've never read. Well, you didn't. You didn't miss it. This is Black Coffee. It is written by Agatha Christie, but she wrote it, and this is a great rarity
Okay,
in
she wrote
her.
the play.
She wrote the play. This is a great rarity in her oeuvre. This is a play that she wrote starring Hercule Poirot, and it is the only play she ever wrote in which she put Poirot in, because normally when she would adapt one of her own novels, she would remove Poirot completely rather than see the awful casting. And when you see this, you will see awful casting of who is Poirot and who is the Hastings clone. She normally removed Poirot. So she wrote this play, Black Coffee, and it was adapted from the script into the novel by Charles Osborne. So if you read it and think, boy, there's nothing here, that's because you're reading a play script that Charles Osborne, who was an actor, and he had acted in various Agatha Christie productions, and he's written about Agatha Christie, and he has a good relationship with the estate. And so he novelized it, and he novelized several of her other plays too. But that's why it doesn't read like a novel, because it isn't one. And again, this
Yeah.
is the only play she ever wrote with Poirot, and it has never, for some mysterious reason, been filmed in English, even though they could do this as a very nice TV movie, but they have not done it. And I would guess, David Suchet could have done this.
Yeah, they could have made it an episode of Poirot.
It would have worked as an episode of Poirot. It would have been perfect because it's, the staged presentation takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours, something like that. They could have used Black Coffee, and I didn't realize that until this second.
Well, they probably never realized it either, or maybe whatever reasons they decided not to.
Yes, because it's the only Poirot play.
Yeah. Now, this is our first exposure to it. And like I said, it is a 1932 production in which there's your example of the title screen. And I'll even show you a little clip of Poirot with the professor in the story. And you can see here, it is really primitive. It's it's about as primitive as De Abenteuer, wouldn't you think?
I think in some ways yes, this is at least as bad as the Abenteuer. That is the 1929 German silent production of
The Secret
The
Adversary.
Secret Adversary. And a couple of months back, I think it was in November or December, I can't remember. But anyway, Bill is a longtime Sherlockian, and so the Sherlock Holmes Society and the British Film Institute and the local Sherlock Holmes affiliate groups in Washington, D.C. Was it Watson's Tin Box, or was it the Red Circle?
Oh, it's the Red Circle.
Remember.
The Red Circle group.
But anyway, they arranged a screening of 3 of the Ellie Norwood Sherlock Holmes films. They were about 20 to 25 minutes long each, and they were beautifully restored.
Amazingly
oh my God, they
restored.
Were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic looking. And they had an organist who was playing his heart out to give you all of the sound effects that you were supposed to have on screen. And when you watch this movie, even though sound was it's the early days of sound. You have to understand, they knew perfectly well how to tell a story. They knew what the film quality should look like. They knew what the, how to fade in from one scene to another. They knew they knew what characters should look like. They knew who characters should act. They're not overacting as much because they're not pantomiming everything. But the people who made this movie, they knew perfectly well how to make a movie that looked professional. This is not what a 1932 audience in France would have seen. They would not have seen this. You are seeing 90 years, over 90 years. You're seeing over 90 years of degradation of the film stock. And there's no help for it until the French Film Institute spends a lot of money finding every copy of this film and restoring it. And we didn't even know that this film existed.
Well,
We thought, like
listed as
everyone else,
lost.
that it was lost. And so I don't know who found this in their basement catacombs, and it crawled out onto YouTube a little while back, and you snagged it.
Yeah, and somebody, our friend whose name I keep forgetting, I'm going to have to look him up. It's on his channel on YouTube. So when you go to the link in the show notes to that channel to see this movie, that's him, who was responsible for running it through AI. And whatever the arguments about AI, it allowed us to actually watch this movie, even though it was sound, but we don't speak French. And so,
although I have learned some French words courtesy of all of those Les Petites Morites, I have learned a few French words.
We've learned these words.
Pourquoi?
Pourquoi?
Oh,
Dolores for I'm sorry. Je t'aime for I love you. I love you.
Exactamente.
Exactamente.
Yes, I have learned one or two French words that I can recognize in context.
Right.
But
now,
but this is one of only 3 adaptations of Black Coffee. And like I said, until our guy unearthed it, God knows how, but he unearthed it, and there it is suddenly back available to be seen. So you cannot afford to be fussy when you watch this film. It is not what the French audience would have seen, and it is not exactly to Black Coffee either, because they spent in the novel, because I did read through the novelization, which I had never done before. I spent a couple of days reading through Charles Osborne's novelization, and he is not the writer that Agatha is. And but the estate didn't want him.
They didn't want him to try to write like Agatha.
Yeah, they didn't. They weren't giving him a go ahead like they
did with Sophie Hannah,
and like they're doing now with Lucy Foley to write Miss Marples, and we'll find out what those are like. I'm sure they'll be wonderful. But anyway, the French movie production company that made this, they were already doing the classic thing that movie production companies do all the time, which is they were rewriting the script, because why would they use Agatha's own script translated into French, where she covers everything, including Poirot's appearance, and she already knows what it looks like in order to have it properly staged, with minimal sets. Why would they do that? And so we get added padding, such as this racehorse scene that has nothing to do.
But you can see they actually have the characters talking. Then they cut to the clip, which they filmed.
I guess is real.
It's a real horse race. Yeah, they just it's like, consider it newsreels, and then they go back to the characters talking. So this is again one of those cases where they end up is basically situating the cast in the form of an early form of green screen, like so that it looks like they're there, but they're really not.
Yeah, they're really not there.
But they pad it out. This is like 5 to 7 minutes of scenes from this patrons coming in and the horse races. And a little conversation, because they were talking about betting. The woman
yeah, that was Henrietta. That was Henrietta, who is Richard Armory's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And they did change some of the names to make them more French, because Henrietta, I guess, is far more French than Barbara. And
Poirot was changed to
Prevel.
And of course, as you can see, he looks so much like Poirot as described in the books.
And there is my niece. That is actually Dr. Amory talking, not Prevel.
Yeah,
that is not Prevel talking, because that's not his niece. And then they rewrite Hastings' part so that he is not Hastings. And by the way, Inspector Japp also shows up in the play. Again, this is a really unusual play, and I don't know why it hasn't been filmed in English. It would have been perfect for the Poirot TV series. Oh my God. But
That's Hastings, by the way.
This is the Hastings clone.
And he is a clown. He's played as a clown, basically.
Yes, a clone and a clown. He is not named Hastings. And again, the translation was kind of wonky, and we're not sure if all of the film was there. But I don't know. He is apparently the neighbor Gaston de Revens, and he is the son of a local chocolatier. And he's clearly a trust fund baby. He doesn't actually have to do anything, and yet, for whatever reason, Prevel seizes upon Gaston de Revenge. You want to show his picture again?
Okay.
Seizes upon Gaston de Revenge as his sidekick for no discernible reason, unless it is possible he already knows who this man is, but it wasn't made clear because this is so obviously the Hastings character, and he is played as an idiot, as a clown. And there's also a sequence in the film, and I don't think you got a clip of it.
No.
And there's a sequence in the film, and this is not from the play. And there was plenty of play that they could have put up there. They would have filled an hour and a half. But there is a sequence where the Hastings clown is being asked by Prevel to watch over the sitting room without a good, clear explanation of why he's doing it. And he doesn't know that Henrietta has been playing with in the corner behind the screen before she left the room, that she is playing with that miracle of modern technology, a radio. And so he is starting to hear these mysterious sound effects, and then people talking.
Well, he's hearing music, and he's reacting to it as if somebody's playing it.
Yeah, he doesn't know it's a radio.
He doesn't know it's a radio, even though there's no reason why there should be music.
Except that he doesn't know where the music is coming from, and he doesn't know where the conversation is coming from. And we got enough from the subtitles that apparently he was listening to a play called The Infanticide by Mr. Charles Poirot, and I'm reading off of my notes, put on by the great Gignall. And again, this might be the AI, but I think that's Guggenal.
Yes.
Is it?
I think it is Grand Guggenal, which is a type of theater that is melodramatic. It is
gory,
can
and
be
bloody,
gory,
and gruesome.
It's anything. Think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that's Grand Guggenal.
Only more stylish because it's French.
It's much more stylish. And I looked up Charles Poirot, as identified in the AI captions, doesn't exist. Now, it might be Charles Perrault, who adapted a number of fairy tales that would have infanticide in it as well. So clearly it's a name recognizable to French audiences.
Yeah, it was a recognizable call. I think you're right. I think that it was a recognizable call out to French audiences to place that movie in a particular place and time, because remember, Agatha always wrote she wrote contemporaries. The only time she didn't write a contemporary was when she wrote Death Comes as the End, which was her ancient Egyptian mystery. But for the rest of them, she wrote contemporaries. And so the French filmmakers, to make Hastings, the Hastings clown, even more of a clown, they used this. And again, I don't know why they put it in, because it was funny.
Part of it is funny, because Poirot also gave him a gun and said, if you see somebody come downstairs, shoot them, which is kind of extreme for
and this is a gun-wielding Poirot, if you want to see one besides Sir Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, afterwards, though, after Hastings freaks out and draws everybody's attention, they all come down in their night clothes to see what the screaming is about. Didn't this give Poirot the chance to go through the room?
But he also said the gun was loaded with blanks.
Yeah. So at least we know he wasn't going to be shooting anybody to death, but it gave Poirot a chance to go through some of the other people's rooms and I guess find the clue that pointed out who actually did it in the end, which is kind of irrelevant.
And some of it was And there was a fake poisoning and
Yeah.
a reference to Mithridates, who was a Persian king who would take various small poisons to build up his immunity.
Mm.
And apparently Professor Amory did not die in this,
Poirot discovers his body, and
but
he
he's
doesn't appear,
not.
I think, the rest of the movie, I don't
I
think.
can't remember. I don't think that he does. But he didn't die. He wasn't poisoned. He was faking his poisoning. And apparently there were a fake copy of the formula that was slightly altered, and it had an X in one corner. And again, the subtitles are wonky,
Yeah.
so you're not sure. And the quality of the film was so terrible that I couldn't always tell not just who was speaking, but who that person was on the screen.
Yes, in fact, I'll repeat this clip just to give you some idea. Poirot talking with the professor at the beginning, and actually Poirot is summoned to the house in the middle of the night and meets the professor first so he gets the setup. The professor has this secret formula that everybody wants to steal because it's valuable, and Poirot is summoned in the middle of the night. There's a house party going on,
which is kind of out of the novel. This is out
yeah,
of the novel.
yeah.
They largely follow the novel, with the exception, of course, of the Hastings character becoming a chocolatier's rich, stupid son,
Mm.
and the car race, or I'm
The
sorry,
horse
the
race.
horse race. What am I saying? The horse race. And of course, if this had been a David Suchet episode, it would have been a vintage car race, because Hastings, the real Hastings,
loves
our own Hugh
automobiles.
Fraser, would have been out there enjoying fabulously the out there. He would have been out there in his Lagonda. You just know it.
Absolutely.
And so they worked in fake stuff for no discernible reason, and then they kind of lost the ending. And
it stretched the time, though. It padded the movie.
And it was the
But
secretary.
it
was the secretary at the end. Yes. I'm trying to remember.
Possibly.
I was falling
Who
asleep.
cares?
I was
In the
falling
end,
asleep.
She was falling. I'm the one that's usually falling asleep. She was nodding
falling
off.
asleep. I couldn't follow the dialogue. I'm falling asleep, and I can't genuinely remember right now who the murderer was, except I think it turned out to be who it was in the play, which is the secretary, Edward Raynor. Yes, it was. It was the secretary, and they kind of did the same thing where Raynor tried to poison Poirot, and he handed the glass off behind a screen to someone else and got the glass back from the port. You know, he had to have alcohol because it was so hot.
Poirot,
and of course, nobody here,
this
is France, so nobody here is going to be drinking lemonade or iced tea because it's hot.
Right. And we also had the diversion in the Italian gangster Corelli, who was a blackmailer.
And he is Italian, but he is not a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a doctor. And he does make the phone call to London that says things are not working out and I'm going to have to flee because the police are here.
But Poirot catches him, and well,
and all is happy. And
all is happy.
Yes, all is happy. And there are characters who really lose their time on stage. Agatha liked women characters on stage. Yeah. She liked strong women characters. She liked older women characters. And so in this case, you have Martha Amory. That's not Martha. That's Lucille. That's Lucy.
Well, I don't have Martha Amory. I couldn't tell these women apart
It
for the
was
most
hard to
part.
tell them apart because you had Henrietta, who was young and flirtatious, and you had Lucy, who was young and subdued because she is, of course, the daughter of a notorious spy. And then you had the 50-something woman who is Martha Amory, and she is Professor Amory's sister. And her part, and she is a fairly important character in the play, but here, because she is an older spinster, she, you know, like all of us older women, and I am not a spinster, but and I don't know how to spin either. So
but you do sew.
Yes, I do sew,
spin,
but I can't spin. But she is largely written out, and I guess they replaced all of her scenes with horse racing and the Hastings clone being a clown. And again, movie producers and movie directors do what they're going to do, and there's just no help
Right.
for it.
Fortunately, we're going to watch the 1973 West German version, TV version, which will be at least much clearer
Oh, it
than
should be
this, if
infinitely
nothing
better.
else. And then we're going to be watching the 1985 Italian version. So there's going to be 3 versions of Black Coffee we're going to be covering. Next week, by the way, we are not live streaming.
We will be on screen.
We
You
will
will
be
see
here
us
at
at 11:30.
11:30.
You will see us at 11:30, but you will see us with a completely different backdrop because we're going to be in Ocean City.
Ocean City, Maryland, not New Jersey, but Ocean
There
City,
are
Maryland.
ocean cities besides Ocean City, Maryland.
That is. Remember, that's what the guy told us yesterday.
I
Because
cannot
he thought we were
imagine
going
that
to.
anybody would go to Ocean City other than Ocean City, Maryland. It has everything you could possibly want.
That's true, and you
and
don't have to pay to
more.
walk on the beach
No.
like in New Jersey. They
Yeah.
charge you.
Oh my God.
Good grief.
But I can't, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can think of other than this is a rarity. The property, the intellectual property is a tremendous rarity in the Agatha Christie oeuvre because, like I said, it's the only play she ever wrote with Poirot, deliberately for Poirot, and it was never turned into a story. It was never novelized by her. She didn't use it again, and it's never been filmed in English. And it should have been done. Thank you. Yes, we are looking forward to enjoying our trip to Ocean City, but it has never been filmed in English, and I don't know why, because it would have been perfect for the David Suchet Poirot TV series because it has Poirot and Hastings and Inspector Japp, and they could have probably worked in Miss Lemon in the opening scene where Poirot is opening his mail and getting the summons from Professor Amory. And I don't know why they didn't, but they could have. And, that's another point to consider.
Right.
But this is a rarity, and that's why you want to see it. And then, but I think
But it's
the other
also
two are
just
going to be
see.
better.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the kind of thing.
Depends on how much of a completist you are.
Yeah, I wouldn't see it just for the Black Coffee itself. You'd see it because it's like French film from 32, 3 years after the popular introduction of sound. They apparently had sound before that, but this has finally got the bugs out where they could actually produce sound movies. And it might be of interest there. It's a novelty, but I wouldn't go seeing it just because it's Black Coffee.
Yeah, it is a curiosity. It really is a curiosity. I'm going to bet that the Germans are going to be very, very close, very faithful.
And we'll be able to understand what's going on better.
Just because we'll be able to see it. And for the Italians, well, who knows? They're Italian.
It looked about the same. In the same kind of quality, TV quality, so limited sets, almost shot on videotape. But at the same time, it's at least going to be a far more of an experience. We can experience the story much better. Now, as far as this, though, how would you rate it for poison? This number of poisons, faithfulness to text, faithfulness to what you know of the text?
Faithfulness to what I know of the text, I would say about a 3. A 3 poison bottles.
3 out of 5.
Because this being a play, not a novel, not, great big outdoor scenes with casts of thousands did not have to be reduced down to a single story.
Yeah.
But they wrote out Professor Amory's sister. They wrote her out almost entirely in order to have the Hastings clone be a fool. They wrote out Japp. They added the fake poisoning because they wrote in the radio scene where Hastings is a complete idiot. They changed a lot, and it wasn't necessary because I don't think it enhanced the story. So definitely 3 poison bottles, and it's almost impossible to judge this for quality of movie on its own because the subtitles, you could tell they were wrong. On occasion, they had the usual trouble with verb tense, the usual trouble with pronouns, the usual trouble with attributions. They couldn't do idioms right. And the film stock was so awful, I really had a hard time telling who was who. Like Richard Amory, that's Lucia's husband, he was on screen a lot, but I couldn't always tell him from the other men. And some of it might have been the styling. All the men have this tuxedo and they're all got the slick back hair. And Corelli, thank God, was wearing a hat and had the sinister goatee. But it was hard to tell
Maybe
what
like
was going
Unknown,
on.
you just draw a line through all the poison bottles because you just
Or I just give it at exactly at the 1/2 mark. I can't
yeah,
remember
just
now
enough.
what I did for the German Die Abenteuer, because the film stock is so bad you can't really judge it fairly
Hmm.
because you can't tell what you're seeing. So definitely a 3 for fidelity to text, because they changed things that had no need to be changed. They added things they didn't need to add. I'm okay with changing the names because they made it French, but it is very much a curiosity, and I'm really going to be looking forward to seeing. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing the other two.
Yeah. And you can watch it as well. We have the link in the description, so you can watch next week's movie anytime you like. We'll see it next Wednesday when we're at Ocean City, and then on Thursday we'll record it at 10:30 or so and post it at 11:30.
Yeah, we're going to pre-record the. We have things we have to do in order to see family members, so we're going to pre-record, and also we don't know if the equipment would allow
Well, the
live
Wi-Fi. I
the
mean, our
Wi-Fi and
equipment will
live
allow
stream.
it, but
Well,
whether the
have
equipment...
you actually tested Baron?
No, not yet, but I'll do it today. I'll post this, take this all upstairs and plug it into the laptop and see what happens.
See how
I think
Baron
it will be
makes
fine, though, especially since we're just recording onto the laptop and not trying to interface with YouTube and the Wi-Fi, whatever Wi-Fi is
It will
there.
make our life considerably easier.
Yeah.
If we go ahead and pre-record, and then everybody can watch it as is at 11:30, and that way we stay on schedule. And then when we come back from OC and we do the Italian
Black
coffee, we'll still be on track.
That's right. And thank you so much for showing up.
Thank you so much for coming out, and we'll see you. Well, we won't see you next week, but you will see us.
That's right.
In a different,
different
Ocean
environment.
City, full frontal view of the ocean condo. And the way to visit Ocean City is in March. And yes, we will be freezing our butts off, but it will be cheap and empty and closed. Most of OC will be closed.
That's right. All right. Bye-bye, darling. Bye-bye, you all. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Oh, and like, subscribe, and follow.
Yep, that's it. And actually, let's try, because we have to do it this way. Nope, wrong one. There we go. So we have a little bit of sound to carry us out. And of course, they're hearing us right now. So maybe we should just shut up and end the broadcast. Bye, everybody.
Maybe we should hire people.
Oh, don't be foolish. Who would do that?